Hello, welcome to another video. Today I want to share my top 10 blushes of 2023. I picked out a variety of formulas, finishes, and price points, so there's definitely going to be something for everybody in this video. All the shades I'll be mentioning are my absolute favorites for fair skin if you have a skin tone similar to mine, but even if you don't, all of these formulas are still my favorite and come in a variety of shades, so you can still find a shade that you really love. I want to start off with a drugstore blush, which is a newer discovery of mine, and I was really not expecting it to be this good. This is from Almay. This is the only Almay product that I own. They came out with these healthy hue blushes, and these are really gorgeous. They come in this paper packaging, and it's a baked sort of like gel formula, like a gel powder hybrid. So if you like something that looks really natural and glowy on the skin, they don't have a ton of shades, but I really like this one. I will have to link the shade. I don't see it on the packaging here, but it is super pretty, has a little bit of shimmer, so it gives you enough glow, but it's not overpowering. It's just like the perfect everyday, if you love natural makeup, you would just love this, and especially at the price point, it's such a good formula. Next is a cream product I've been obsessed with lately. I have it on my face now. I've used it in a lot of recent videos. This is from the brand Iris&Romeo, which you can find on Credo Beauty. This is their Ceramide Multi-Balm in the shade Rosy Glow, so you can use this on your lips. This is a really moisturizing type of formula, so if you have dry skin, you're gonna absolutely love this. Me having combo skin, I still really love just the glow that it gives to my skin. It's more like a mid-tone pink, so I do have to be light-handed with it. Has a little bit of glow within it. I really like the smell of it. It just smells like, I don't know, really good like fruitiness. It's not like artificially scented. It just has a really nice natural scent to it. It's really gorgeous on the lips and the cheeks. It feels so like succulent and moisturizing, so if you really want something that's comfortable to wear, makes your skin look alive, and it's just like you love a balmy stick product, you would love these. Let's bounce over to a powder blush that I really like. They have an amazing shade range in this, from pastels to really bright colors, so no matter your skin tone. This is the Make Beauty Skin Mimetic Microsuede Blush. This is a completely matte formula, so if you like a powder blush and a matte, I think these are going to be a good pick for you. This is my favorite shade, which is Cosmic, which is a very, very light baby pink. You could barely see it on my skin there. If you have fair skin, the secret to blushes is just get the most pastel light shade that you can find. They just end up looking a lot more natural on us, and you can continue to layer them without, you know, easily going overboard. So these are super smooth. They feel so high quality. The packaging is gorgeous, come in tons of shades, and it's just the smoothest, most blurring matte formula. It's really gorgeous on. This is an OG favorite of mine, but I had to mention it, the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Blushes. I only have one shade of this, and I don't feel like I need any more because I love this shade so much. This is the Mood Exposure Blush, so it has a marbling of their ambient lighting powder and also the blush powder. So this is a baked formula. This has more of like a muted rosy shade to it, so it's not quite as light as some other ones. But the pearl in this, if you've never tried like an Hourglass powder, they're so incredibly blurring and glowy at the same time. Like maybe if you're a powder blush person but you want to add a glow but you're not into anything chunky or glittery, these are perfection. They smooth out imperfections, texture. If you have textured skin, you're gonna love this formula as well. They are pricey, but I have been using this and like I can't even tell that I have been. Like it looks brand new basically. They do come in other shades, but love this one, Mood Exposure. Gorgeous mauvey purple. Next I want to talk about a liquid. This is truly one of the most unique blush formulas in my collection, from the brand Daniel Sandler. These are the Watercolour Liquid Cheek Colors. These are a very liquidy blush, and if you want like the ultimate glowy cheek, it's really hard to describe the feeling of this, but it's almost like a dry oil. So when you put it on the face, it gives you just like this crazy sheen, but it does dry down. So if you have like more oily to combo skin, you want the look of a really juicy cream blush with like a lot of glow, but you want it to last a little bit longer. I think these are the perfect sort of in between. But also if you have dry skin, I don't feel like it enhances texture. You get a ton of product in here. They're just a really fun product to use, and something I haven't seen ever besides in this formula from Daniel Sandler. You can get this brand, I believe they have them on Amazon, Derm Store, Skin Store, sites like that. I will have them linked below. Next, let's talk about two of my favorite powders from the drugstore. First is the Flower Beauty. These are their Flower Pots Powder Blush. They have this really gorgeous rose imprint on it. These are really similar to the Milani blushes, but I like these better because they have a better shade range, especially for like light cool shades. I just haven't found one in the Milani blush that I like. So it's a super similar, just like creamy matte formula. I think this one's actually more pigmented. As you can see, it's really pastel, cool, light pink, so it's ultra flattering for fair skin. These feel really nice, especially for the price. It's not one of those matte blushes that looks chalky. It's really blendable, but you could also build it upon itself. Gorgeous one from Flower Beauty. I love Flower Beauty. They have so many beautiful products. Next, if you have ultra fair skin and you feel like almost all blushes just end up looking too dark on you, the Maybelline Fit Me blushes, this was like a surprise for me. Also, if you like shimmery blushes, this shade specifically, this one's called Mauve. This is like a very light pink, cool mauve, and it has a gorgeous like silver shimmer in it. It's also a surprisingly creamy matte formula. Like, it's almost like a blush and highlighter in one. It's like a blush light. If you like those types of like ultra shimmery blushes, it just looks so gorgeous and really does like highlight your cheeks. And this shade especially, light, cool, very pastel if you need something for fair skin, but they also have other shades. This one specifically is my favorite. Also had to mention this formula from Persona Cosmetics. Their blush sticks are amazing. These are a pigmented, like juicy type of blush stick formula. Compared to this one, you can see that's like way dewier, and this one has more of like a satiny finish. This color, Bubble, by the way, it is a very cool tone purpley pink, which if you're a little bit scared of this, I would say don't worry about it. Once it's blended out, if you're light-handed, it looks really gorgeous. You have a cool undertone, but they do offer other shades if Bubble is a little too intense looking for you, but I really love the Bubble shade. I also wanted to mention the powder counterpart of that blush. Also comes in multiple shades. I have the Bubble one here. This might be a little bit easier to control if you wanted to dip your feet into the Bubble shade. It's just a little bit more easy to work with. Like the blush, you can go overboard with a little easier than the powder formula. This, a little bit of it on the cheeks. I feel like it just wakes up my face in a way that a lot of blushes don't, you know, if they're too muted or dark, but this is a very, very light, bright pink cool tone. If you have cool tone skin, this is gonna be your girl. Next, I wanted to mention this from Jones Road. Even though it's not my absolute favorite, I wanted to include this for people who have mature or dry skin and you want like an ultra dewy moisturizing, like even more moisturizing than the Iris&Romeo one. The Jones Road Miracle Balms, I really love this shade, which is called Flush. It's just like a very balmy type of formula. It gets sheared down very easily, but you could also build it up, and it just gives you like the maximum amount of moisture to your skin while still looking really natural, and I think it sinks in nicely. It has definitely like sits on your skin a little bit, but if you have dry or mature skin, that might be why you enjoy this, is because it adds that moisture all day long. Speaking of cream blushes, this is a really great, super affordable option from e.l.f. These are the Monochromatic Multi-Sticks. I have the shade here, Dazzling Peony, which is a gorgeous shimmery type of mid-tone pink. These are actually quite pigmented. This is like a dry cream formula, like not dry, it just has more of that satiny matte formula versus a very dewy, juicy cream blush. So if you have more oily skin, you might prefer this kind of formula versus the more dewy or moisturizing sticks. And for the price, you cannot beat them. This has a little bit of shimmer, just looks gorgeous on the cheeks. Next, it wouldn't be a blush video if I didn't mention my favorite RMS Beauty Redimension Hydra blush in the shade French Rose. I'm obsessed with this shade in the formula. It livens my face unlike any other blush I've ever used. I love a baked shimmery formula, so these quickly became my favorite. It's like the look of wearing a cream blush without wearing a cream blush, and the shade is such a pretty cool tone pink. This is definitely one of the more shimmery options, but it's a finely milled shimmer because it's in that baked gel formula, so it doesn't look chunky, it doesn't accentuate texture, it just gives you a nice glowing finish. I use this all the time. They have so many beautiful shades and they are refillable as well. Now, I think this is a really underrated blush formula. These are from Rituel Defee. These are the Bee Sting, it's called their Color Nectar Pigment Balms. They have some really interesting shades in these, but this is the shade Bee Sting, which is more of like a neutral pink, I would say. It doesn't pull as cool as many of my other options. So if you have maybe more neutral skin, it's actually really similar to the Iris&Romeo one. It's sort of the Iris&Romeo dewiness, but toned down a little bit. They have that like slightly waxier cream formula, so they stick onto the skin really well and the color doesn't fade off. Nice little pot here. I think you could easily get a brush in here, but I do think that using your finger with these sort of releases the goodness, and it just like really gives you a strong, pretty tint of color that lasts all day. The Rose Ink blushes are another amazing cream formula. Packaging's beautiful. Another refillable option. This one is the shade Heliotrope, which is my personal favorite. Now, out of all the creams, this one's definitely the thickest. It's like a traditional thick cream blush, and the shade is more of like a neutral warm pink, but I still feel like it's nude enough that it works on me, and this has a hint of shimmer. This one looks really natural once it's blended out, and since it is a bit thicker, yeah, it sticks on the skin and blends out to be a bit softer with the perfect amount of like a satin dewiness. This is the perfect like in-between blush out of all of these, I feel like, for a cream formula. Like, it's not too dewy or too matte, but it's also not super shimmery or totally matte. It's like that in between. So if you just like something that's like a satin finish, medium buildable pigment, and will last all day, these are gorgeous. Last but not least, I had to mention this, which was the winner of my drugstore blush showdown. I did a whole video where I tried literally every single blush I could try at the drugstore, and this ended up winning. This is from Moira. These are the signature ombre blushes. This shade Soft Berry is my favorite, but they have tons of beautiful shades. I love the customability of this. Like, you can really get a pigmented berry if you're just in that shade. Like, that is a pigmented color, but then you could also dip into that mid-tone purple, which is still very pigmented, or you could go all the way up here, which is sort of my favorite shade. It's so pastel if you are very fair. This is like, you can barely see it on my skin. Usually that light one mixed with a little bit of the purple. Hopefully you'll be able to see it there. It's just so pastel and pretty. If I want a super natural blush, this is what I will go for. Again, like I mentioned, lots of other shades so you can play around with them. Ultra creamy matte formula. Like, it almost feels like it just like melts in between your fingers, and it smooths onto the face so it doesn't accentuate texture. Has this sort of like beautiful embossing. They're so fun to use. They feel really expensive. And if you ever see these on Amazon, on their website, at the drugstore, definitely pick one of these up. I think you're gonna love it. Those were all my favorite blushes of 2023. I would love to know your favorite blush in the comments below. There'll be 2 videos here if you want to keep hanging out. Either one over here or one over here. Choose one and I will see you there. Bye.